Really, I guess two pieces of good news. Not only did Matt make his return against Auckland last week, but you've also named Marco Tilio in the squad, assuming that he gets through training this morning. I mean, I guess, yeah, how are they tracking for Macarthur, and how exciting is it to have them both back in the mix?
Yeah, nice to have them both back. They're travelling pretty well, to be honest. Really important that Lex got a bit of game time last week, and he pulled up from that 15 or so minutes really well. Albeit he also had the travel, and we weren't really sure how we was going to cope with the travel as well. But really recovered well. He's been fine this week, so we're looking to extend his game time this weekend. And Marco has been training well also this week. And yep, as I said, we're going to have our last session this morning and then finalise the travelling party. But he's looking good, and nice to also have him back because he's also a player that brings something different to our team.
With Marco, in the event that he does travel, don't imagine he'll start, but is it a case of where you'll look to get him minutes regardless if he does travel, or is it a case of you let the game state determine that, and if you can get away with it, you might not even play him?
Yeah, no, well, it's important that if he's going to travel, that he tries to get some game time. Obviously, yeah, we have to see how the game is going, and we also have to be mindful. It's been what 11, almost 12 weeks since his last appearance. So he's not a 90-minute player, and probably not even a 60-minute player at this stage. Unfortunately, he can't get any match fitness apart from playing in the A League. So, like Lex, we just have to build minutes on him, and whether it's 15 or 20 minutes this week, and then continue to build in the next game against Adelaide. Albeit we have the bye week in between this game and the game against Adelaide. So, as I said, they've both really been tracking well and in training and are feeling good. So yeah, just it's about a matter of time now in terms of how much time they get, and slowly build them to a reasonable fitness level in terms of match fitness anyway.
Because with Marco, obviously, he had no luck with injuries last season, and then he secures another loan to City in the hope of getting minutes. And I talked to him pre-season, and he was really excited and keen to get as many minutes as possible. And then he gets another injury. I guess not only how have you've supported him physically throughout this period off the park, but mentally as well. How have you and the boys got around him? Because I can imagine for a youngster keen to get minutes and keen to kick on, this has been a real challenge for him to once again be forced to the sidelines.
I think it's just not for those boys. I think it's for anyone who gets injured. We have young Jaden Nikovsky, Maxi, Ali Lopane, Andy Naboo with longer term injuries, and that is very, very difficult when you're out for such a long period of time to mentally, turn up every day and do your rehab, and making sure that everything that you do is spot on to get yourself back as quickly as possible. But we got a huge amount of support here at the club, not just within their own peers, management, psychologists. So they're doing a lot of work to keep them in their focus as sharp as possible. And then at times, and few of them have had some time away as well, where we feel that they need 2 or 3 days to go away or stay away from the club. I think that's also been important, and we've done that and managed that pretty well. So unfortunately in sport, you got to probably have thick skin, and you got to be mentally tough or resilient. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for everyone who is in sport, is about being resilient. It's not going to be just a straight line to success. You're going to have lots of dips, lots of highs, lots of lows, and those low moments. You really got to be pretty tough and have a different sort of resolve. And sometimes it's difficult when you're young, and trying to. I think we've been speaking about adversity a hell of a lot, and and you really got to go through those dips to try to come out on the other side in a much more positive frame of mind, and just understand that is all part of sport, unfortunately, and it's just not sport, Joey. It's also life. You know, your life just doesn't travel in a nice, balanced way. You're gonna hit hurdles along the way, and you just have to manage them. And then having support around you and is extremely important. So part of life, part of football, part of all sports. It is. It is what it is, and as I said, we all signed up for this. Sometimes it's crazy thinking what the hell you're doing, but we're here because we love it. We have a passion for it, and you have to accept those tough moments. But as much as you accept the great moments, you have to accept the tough moments.
You brought up Andrew Naboot before, and one of the things I've heard from a few people, chatting to people at the club, is that yes, he's had the disappointment of this injury, but he's been around everybody. He's been like a super teammate since he's been on the sidelines, getting around people, getting them excited, supporting them. Just what sort of influence is he having on the group this season, even though he's out with an injury?
He's incredible. First of all, he's an incredible person, and he's got his head in the right spot. He's got his heart in the right spot. He's very selfless. He's always thinking about other things and how things can be better and other people. And he's been enormous. He's got a very special role here as well. One, he's got to get himself back to full fitness, which is already hard enough. And on top of that, he's helping guys in the gym like Jaden Nikovsky, who's probably at the same rehab process time as he is. So, and not just that, he's all the things that, even half the things I don't even see, right? He's doing things in the background to, make sure people are getting up ready for games. He's giving and showing his experiences to the younger players as well. So he's been enormous. He's that type of character anyway, and I think they're a dime a dozen these days.
And looking ahead to this weekend, obviously looking to bounce back from the Auckland defeat against Macarthur, I guess what are some of the lessons that you're going to take from that Auckland game that you're going to try to implement and improve on against the Bulls?
Well, we were pretty poor in terms of managing the ball and trying to get the ball into the opposition box. So that was one thing. But we also were just not aggressive enough, and we didn't have the intensity that we've had over the last couple of months. It happened in that game. It was unfortunately that we all sort of hit that hurdle at the same time. And probably those two areas that we really need to get back to what we were doing a couple of months ago. That's a staple for us, really, to be honest. We're super aggressive. We want the ball. We want to win it back quickly when we don't have it. We just need to be a lot cleaner and a lot more efficient going into our final third.
The third goal that Auckland scored from the corner, it was notable in the build-up. They got a body on Patrick. Patrick couldn't get around him, spilled the ball, and Max Manor pokes it home. Is that a situation wherein the referees need to be looking after Patrick, or is it a case that he needs to be stronger, or his teammates need to get in there? Because there's been a few games this season where clubs have really zeroed in on getting bodies on Patrick before these set pieces deliveries.
I think the days of the goalkeepers being protected is long gone. It's been happening for a couple of years now. Once upon a time you used to breathe on the goalkeeper, and it was always a free kick. So that's absolutely changed, and we've had some issues with that. One, goalkeepers have got to get better at that and get stronger in those moments, and secondly, he has to be protected by us. We don't expect the referee to protect him. We expect our players also to help him in those moments. So that's something that we're aware of, and we've been working on it, especially again, more notably after what happened last week. We've been at it again this week. So I think in time it'll just get better.
And Macarthur, I guess, what have you made of their recent form, and what do you need to do to beat them?
I think they're still a very, very good team. I know they'll probably be very disappointed in the result against Wellington, because when you look at overall that 90 minutes, they probably should have won the game. They're a good attacking team. They've got some nice good individuals, especially in the attacking areas. A couple of them having really top seasons, like Jed Drew, for example, and very dangerous going forward. So we know it's going to be a difficult match. Like, as I said, anyone can beat anyone on any given day. Yep, we're aware of their strengths. We'll try to target their weaknesses, and just most of the time we're trying to worry about ourselves and making sure that our game is in a good way. So that's always going to be our focus.
And across the past few days, we've seen a few coaches talk about under-20s that they'll be losing in the weeks ahead to international duty. Given the youthful nature of your side, you might be hit more than most on that front. Do you know how many players you might be losing?
Yeah, we had, I think it was 6 on that list. But we're going to lose 1 and the rest are on standby. So, yeah, definitely we're going to lose 1. And which I think that's going to be announced. Is that right today, Jack? Yeah, that's going to be announced today. So we'll lose 1 and we have 5 on standby. So that could lead to anything, because a couple of injuries or some of the overseas players don't get released because it's, again, non-FIFA dates. Then we could be in a little bit of strife there as well. In saying that, if your national team calls you, you need to go. I think it's super important that you enjoy the experiences, and you're here. For us, you're here to learn, to get better, to improve your football, your life. And when you have the opportunity to represent your country, you just got to run. That's my advice.
And in terms of January, I asked you last week, I'll ask you again, incomings, outgoings, any developments on that front?
Yeah, incoming tomorrow, Marco Tilio.
Got me all excited there for a second.
No, nothing at the moment, and it's highly probable that nothing will happen. But again, like we've got to be honest, we've got some pretty big ins still to come back. Lex just got back last week. Marco Tilio, Max Caputo will play some minutes in the NPL game this weekend, so he's tracking well for Adelaide. Then we've got Andreas and Jonathan. Andreas probably earlier than Jonathan. I would say the next 4 weeks. So, as I said, they're pretty big ins. So at this stage, probably not a hell of a lot will happen with us in the transfer market.
You mentioned before about how, like, for Matt and Marco, the only way they can get match fitness is playing in the A-League. But for Max, I imagine he's still eligible for your NPL side, which means that their season starts February 8 against Manningham. Is there a chance that as part of Max's rehabilitation, he could see minutes with Dia's team in the NPL, or are you inclined to just keep him with you?
They have a friendly game on Saturday, which he will get minutes, and then we'll assess him for what we need against Adelaide. And so if that means he may need another week with the NPL, and he's eligible for the NPL, and so is Ale Lapani, for example, Emin Jurakovic, a hell of a lot of them, because most of them are still under the age of 23. So that's always an option. So we've got that up our sleeve if we need it.
It's not the Y League, but it's close enough.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.